Hi, everybody. This is Brian Charette coming to you live from the East Village, which is where I live in New York City on 14th Street. I'm so happy that Gail asked me to come on the show. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my life and music and how I got started playing, and you can write in with questions that I will, of course, answer. So I am from Meriden, Connecticut. I was born in 1972, um, November 24th, if you want to send me a cake. Um, My mother is an excellent pianist, and we had a Wurlitzer piano in my house, which I would at a very young age walk down to play. We actually had a book of fireside folk songs right here. I can show you. So I would open this book up to a song called The Great Wall of China, which had the picture of the Great Wall of China. Let me see if I can find it for you quickly, which will make the story fun. Where? Might not be easy to find. Well, anyway, the songs in this book had lovely pictures like this. So I would go down to the piano at a very early age and look at the pictures and just improvise on the piano for hours. Um, Fireside book of folk songs. So this is how I started to play the piano. This is the book. My mother, of course, saw that I was sitting at the piano all day long, um, and started to teach me a few lessons. Um, Shortly after that, I studied with a gentleman named George McKinstry, which is where I started to study piano in earnest. I played classical music. I remember I had John W. Schwam piano courses. Um, I also remember that Mr. McKinstry had very, very long nose hair. I love you, George, wherever you are. Um, I practiced a lot of scales. I played piano for about, I would say, until I was about 12 or 13 years old. And then I got into fretted instruments. And when I first started to play music professionally, I was playing bass in bands, not any kind of keyboards. Um, the band I was playing in needed a keyboardist for a couple of songs, so I started to get back into playing the keyboards. I was in high school at the time. I was involved in bands. I was really getting into music. I was playing music at parties with my friends. And I decided to enter the All-State Jazz Competition, which is the first time that I got really into playing jazz music. And I got a Charlie Parker book, which would become kind of my Bible for the next 20 years or so. I still have my tattered copy of that over on the bookshelf too. Um, so that was kind of the first time that I started to practice very much in music. Um, so I actually didn't win the competition. I only came in second, but this very much whet my appetite for getting better at music. Um, when I was in college, I actually went to Berkeley summer program in between my high school and college year. Um, and I was exposed to many great things there. They had, at the time, very, uncommon technology. They had a tape player that would play at half speed so you could transcribe solos. Um, they had season tickets to see the Red Sox games, which were really enjoyable. And I got the books, transcriptions of Bill Evans, which would really change the way that I thought about uh, harmony and music. And Bill's playing was so beautifully laid out in these transcriptions that I started to study them very voraciously. Um, After I went to Berkeley, I actually went to the Czech Republic too at the end of that's a little bit later. So I get into college, and I actually started to get some pretty cool gigs. I was like maybe 17 or 18, even younger, my last year of high school, and I started to play gigs with pretty cool guys like Lou Donaldson and Houston Person. I did a clinic with Greg Bissonette. I was playing guitar in Godspell, so I had really a lot of work when I was a really young person. Um, I was playing in the Hartford area. because I went to UConn when I did go to school. I was also studying at Hart School of Music. Um, and I played in a popular band there called Street Temperature. And from there, I met a gentleman named Lotso Deci, who would bring me to the Czech Republic. This is kind of maybe my second or third year of college. And I started to play in the Czech Republic pretty soon after the wall came down. Maybe it was 1992 or 3, and maybe the wall comes down in 89. This guy that I worked with, Lotso Deci, is very, very interesting. And in 1968, when the Soviets came into Prague, he was putting sticky bombs on tanks with Václav Havel. So when we started to go to the Czech Republic, we would play for Havel, who was a very beloved president of the Czech Republic. I actually got to play for 2 of the presidents of the Czech Republic. And I still go there very often. But through this tour, the pianist who was playing with Lotso Deci before me, his name was Leon Gruenbaum. He would become my first roommate in New York City in 1994. So I was working with Lotso. I got off the road. I called Leon, and I was living in the East Village days later. So that happened very, very quickly for me. And at this point, I had never even really had any experience with the Hammond organ. I was just a pianist. I played keyboards too. I was doing some production and music as well when I first got to New York. But I was struggling financially for sure, and I was trying to get myself together. And because I didn't have a lot of work in town yet, I started to take these tours on what we would call the Chitlin circuit with people on a blues label called JSP that I would work for. So who did I work with? Percy Struthers, Lee Schott Williams was another gentleman that I worked with. And we'd get in a van and we'd go playing all over the place, their music. And I needed to get a touring rig for this. So I think I got my first credit card or something, and the Hammond XB2 had just come out. And I maxed out my credit card and just got one. So I had this new thing. I'm unpacking it in my kitchen. And right at that very moment, I got called, for reasons unbeknownst to me, to play organ at the bar on the corner, which was called the St. Mark's Bar, where actually a lot of jazz music used to happen in the mid-90s. Ralph Salama would play there with Bop Juice every Sunday. Bobby Vidal, a great bassist, would play there. I also met Jay Collins, a saxophonist, who would become my first organ gig there. I got called that night to play with Frank Bambera, who's also an amazing drummer from the Lower East Side, plays a lot of Latin music too. So I began playing very often at the St. Mark's Bar, maybe 3 nights a week. I was playing with Jay Collins, I was playing with Frank, and whoever else I would be working with there. And this is where most people saw me playing the organ for the first time, even though I didn't really know how to do it yet. So I was it was baptism by fire. I, from there, started to play a lot in Harlem at Showman's. And this is where I really learned how to play the instrument, the B3 with the pedals. That's actually Jack McDuff's organ. It may even still be in there. I'm not sure. Jack McDuff, one of my big influences on the Hammond organ. But in the early days, when I would play it, it would have a lot of mechanical problems, which was a really great experience because I was in very real time having to deal with whatever could possibly happen on the real instrument, the B3. So the pedals used to stick at Showman's, and I would kind of have to lean over and grab it underneath to pull it up while the whole song is going on. So I've had to use that trick quite a few times in my playing of Hammond B3s. So when I was playing there, I feel like I used to play with Joey Morant there. I played with a lot of singers there. Annette St. John, I believe. There was a saxophonist named Max that I played there with. Uh, this is many years ago, and I got to meet a lot of young people who are now like jazz stars. Nicholas Payton was there. Gregoire Marais was there. Kim Thompson. Many young people that are now pretty well known in jazz. Actually, I got to play with them when they were very young at Showman's, which is where everybody would come and jam uptown. Um, so what else? What else? What else? What else? Some fun gigs that I've played in my life. Um, I got to play when I first got to New York with Neil Sugarman and Rudy Petschauer in the Neil Sugarman 3, which was actually the genesis of Daptone Records. So it was really fun to work with those guys um, before Daptone even existed. Um, I'm playing lately a lot with George Coleman, who has become a very dear friend. I knew George's son many years ago in Hartford, George Jr. We would play gigs together. Um, I actually met George Sr. when I first came to New York because I had a studio on the Lower East Side on Rivington Street. And George occasionally would come down to play with us, George Sr. So that's actually how we met, and we've been working together quite a lot now. Um, we have this lovely album that just got released on vinyl. It has a fun cover. And we just recorded the follow-up. Let me see if I can find it here. So we went into the studio. I think this was 2017. I love this cover. I look like security. So this just came out on 180 gram vinyl. Um, and I'm going to be doing George's album in the next few months too. He has a new album, and we just recorded the follow-up of this just a couple days ago too. So he's doing incredible. Um, Other amazing experiences in music. Um, I got to play in Madison Square Garden with Talia. Um, I was like dressed up in a powdered wig, and I was like Rock Me Amadeus kind of guy. And I had the Knicks cheerleaders swirling around me in this very complicated choreographed scene. I got to play with Joni Mitchell and Shaka Khan in Central Park. That was amazing. Maybe it was 2001 or 2. And we were playing all of Joni Mitchell's jazz music, and I transcribed the music for that too. So that was very, very challenging. Um, what else? When I first got to town, I also was so fortunate to meet Jimmy and Jerry Vivino, who were in the band, the Max Weinberg 7 on the Conan O'Brien show, which was so popular. And I ended up recording a lot with both of those guys. And when they were in New York, they would just contract the most amazing gigs. I got to play with Michael McDonald with those guys. We played, and Phoebe Snow in Central Park Boathouse. Um, we played with Keely Smith for 3 weeks at Feinstein's, I think. I got to do the show. So really great to work with those guys. Um, Last year, I actually have begun to play a little bit of classical music. I'm not a great classical pianist, even though I went to school for classical music, but I actually have a broken finger. Can you see my finger? So let me get it in the camera. So this pinky being bent like that, it's not great to look at. It prevents me from playing a lot of classical music, but I played a Franz Liszt mass in St. Stephen's Basilica with the Modern Art Orchestra, and I've actually gotten to write some music for them, my own pieces. Very interesting group, lots of low brass, uncommon to write for an ensemble of that instrumentation. So, what else? New projects that are coming out. I have a lot of this month, next in May. From the 2nd to the 15th, I am going to be on tour with Oz Noy and Anton Fig. Oz is a great rock guitarist. Anton Fig was the drummer of Late Night with David Letterman for many, many, many years. I also will play with a violinist, Pavel Sporsel. We have kind of a rock group there too, but we kind of improvise fugues on these tunes. He's like a ripping classical violinist. I also have quite a bunch of new recording projects coming out that I've just really recorded this month. I've done 4 new things that are going to come out. First is I have recorded a new Cellar Live album with Corey Weeds, David Sikula, and John Lee. This is the follow-up to my album Jackpot, which was, for me, a really great personal victory. We recorded at Van Gelder's, which was amazing to play that organ that's on all of those recording sessions that I love. I also have this new thing with George that's coming up on Steeplechase, which is the follow-up to Grooving with Big G. There we are one more time. It looked like security. And this is interesting too. I have recorded a solo organ album, which is actually number 3 solo organ album, which is kind of a cult favorite of people that like my albums, love these weird solo organ albums. I'm friends with Matthew Kaminsky, who plays organ for the California Angels. He plays the arrangements at the baseball games. But I have my 3rd solo organ album, and I actually also just made yesterday a solo piano album. So those things are very interesting. I recorded a lot of my music that I recorded for Steeplechase with solo piano versions, sometimes sextet arrangements that I've made for solo piano. What else? I also do on Tuesday nights this very unusual electronic music stream. I think most of the people that know my music know me playing Hammond organ or jazz, but I also am really interested in electronic music and synthesizers. And every Tuesday tonight, in fact, at 9 p.m. on Facebook, I do a live electronic stream where I'm performing live with like drum machines, and sometimes I'll play some of my jazz music. I also have a whole library of music that I've written for this instrumentation. So I'm pretty excited about that. What else can I tell you? Some awards I've won. I don't like to talk about my awards, but I'll tell you here because it was suggested. This year, where do you hear? Right here on Facebook, Gail is asking, where do you hear electronica tonight? It's right here, right on Facebook. I stream every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. from the Pinch Brian, my personal Facebook page. Yeah, so awards, I won some surprising ones this year. I actually won Rising Star Keyboards, which must be for this electronic show because I don't even really do that live anywhere. I think I'm second now in the Downbeats Critics Poll for organ. Wow, maybe I'll win someday. That would be cool. Maybe I was 2015 Best Organist in New York from Hot House magazine. Anyway, enough about the awards. I have had enough accolades that I don't need anymore, thankfully, and that's a very liberating feeling. I also recently just became bicoastal. I have a place in the beach now, in Venice Beach in Los Angeles, which I really love. And I play a lot of different music there. I play fusion. I've gotten to record some music for movies. I get to play with Danny Carey, who's in a hard rock band called Tool, who's a super amazing guy. Doug Webb is out there. Andy Sinisi, one of my friends who plays drums, lives out there. And I go have coffee on the beach. So it's very nice to have You know, and I kind of joked, in New York, I'm living in the Lower East Side, and in Los Angeles, I'm on the Lower West Side. I don't play Destiny in Redondo Beach, but I'm sure I will. You know, I'm just getting set up out there. Last month, I just moved into my, apartment there, which is beautiful and right next to the beach. It's small, but it's just super, and the weather there is always perfect. I go have coffee on the beach, which is actually there's not a lot of people around. So when I'm on 14th Street here, it sounds like pretty intense activity downstairs all the time. So, but I also love 14th Street. I've lived in the East Village my whole 30 years here. What's it called, Destiny? What's the club there called? No, I'm definitely going to check it out. I do go to play. I'll be. Yeah, I've heard of that place. I even drive up to San Francisco. I go play in San Diego sometimes. I really love this place in Ventura called the Grape, and I kind of play like they're more rock shows than jazz shows there, but I get to play with really cool people there. I played with Jimmy Vivino there. On the pier. Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. I love that drive north from the beaches up north, up the west coast. It's gorgeous, unbelievable topography. Um, so I'm excited to be doing stuff there too. I'm gonna try to get um, deeper into the LA music scene, because maybe I'm gonna play some more of my synths and stuff there. New York, I feel like I'm like into the bebop stuff pretty hard, which I'm also super into. Um, I'm trying to travel a little bit less. It's not, this month is not a great sampling of my new homebody stuff, but I'll be traveling a lot. But this summer, I think I'm going to be between New York and Los Angeles. I think it's October 3rd, which is a little way off, but that's going to be my next big New York City gig. I'm playing at the Iridium. I'm going to put a super band together. I'm playing this Friday night at the Roxy Hotel, which is really fun. I have a quartet with Nick Hempton, Jordan Young, and Eric Zolan, and we play like Jack McDuff, funky organ jams, um, which is going to be super fun. Thursday, I'm actually going to be playing with Brian Torf from Fairfield University. We're playing they have a special sextet that I will be guesting with at Fairfield University Thursday night. So fun week coming up with music. And I'm just going to be here till the 2nd, and then I'm going to be all over the place. I'm going to be in Vienna, Prague. Yup, that's right, Gail. You see that from my website? That's right. Thank you for that. How about Gail Boyd, everyone? I'm going to be in Vienna with Oz. We are going to play in Budapest. We're going to be in Mainz. Is that how you pronounce that? In Germany. I'm going to, on the 16th of May and the 23rd of May, I'm playing at the Jazz Dock in Prague, which is a super cool club right on the Moldau. That's 16 and 23, I believe. Check out this guy, Pavel Sporsel, I play with. He's like unbelievable violinist, and we have this killer rock band that I dig, that we work with over there. I'm also going to be playing, I think on the 21st, I'm going to be in Rotterdam playing an organ festival. I've never played there before as a leader, so I'm very excited about that. And I'm going to teach at Code Arts during the day. Also, I am going to be in Poland, in Krakow. I wish I could remember all of these days, but I feel like this is 17 and 18 of May. I'm going to be there. So if you're friends watching from Europe, I'm going to be all over the place. I'm going to be in Milan, Blue Note with Oz, so all over the place. Let me see, what else can I tell you for our last few minutes? Yeah. Um, I really love to play music, especially this point in my life. I kind of just meditate and exercise. I do a little work booking myself. I have over the last years done all my own booking stuff, and I've gotten pretty cool gigs to the point where I can relax a little bit with that now. So I still do my own concerts, but I work for other people a lot, which I really enjoy. And I just think about, more about music now than I have in the past years, which is really fun to think about that, which is in many ways much more simple. Yes, I know, Destiny. I have like super cool concerts all over. It's really fortunate. So I feel like I can relax a little bit because I've been working very, very hard for many years and it's been too crazy. I don't know if I would work that hard. If I had it to do over again, I think I would work less hard um, and more smart. Um, but I'm pretty feeling really great about the next little while of things coming up. I'm trying to write a string quartet, which I have not done yet, but I'm studying Ravel, which is my favorite string quartet. Um, in Europe, I've been really fortunate to write music for larger ensembles like Modern Art Orchestra. I was telling you guys a little about, so I really want to do that. But it's really a lot of work. So I'm hoping that I can continue to relax my um, professional obligations of booking and logistics to spend more time writing music. That's going to be really cool. I have all these new albums coming out, and I've written a lot of new music for those. So I'm very excited for you to hear that. What else do I have? Let me see if I have any cool gigs before I go on the 2nd in town. So let me look. Let's see what we have. Not really, you guys. I have some private stuff. I have the Roxy Friday that I told you about. Thursday Fairfield. I feel like I am. Oh, Saturday I'm with Oz in Kennethport. Mike LaDon is going to be there too. It's like an organ summit of some kind. It's not called that, but it will be when we're there. Um, it's in Pennsylvania with Oz. We're playing on Saturday. So I'm almost done here. If you guys ever need to get in contact with me, my email is 54productions, all spelled out, at gmail.com. Or you can just write to Brian at briancharette.com. I get those too. Or write to me on socials. I'm Pinch Brian on all socials. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Oh, yeah. The 54 is spelled out, not the numbers, though. So FIVEFOUR Productions, all spelled out. But I'm actually writing to me on socials is even easier, you guys, because I see it right away. And I'm Pinch. That's it. Yep, that's the one. And I'm Pinch Brian on socials on Instagram. And try to tune in tonight at 9. You can see the electronic stream, which is very different from my jazz music. Okay. See you later, everyone. Um, Thanks so much again, Gail, for the opportunity. And please let me know if you have any questions, guys. Okay.